Okay, we are live. What is up, Jose? How are you? A little late here for the live audience. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the show. And for those of you on the audio side, thank you again. Numbers are going up, so we appreciate you guys. The numbers on the podcast, not COVID numbers, because those are going up as well.
Too
Although,
soon.
are you ready? Are you ready for the vaccine? Are you going to take it?
Of course, I'm gonna take it. You saw it pull up today. Uh, the
Yeah.
the timeline was having a field day with it, with the vaccination showing up.
They really somebody put the Goldberg music on
The
it.
Goldberg theme song.
Man,
To
the internet will just
could you
wild out on
imagine?
everything.
Could you imagine being the doctor who's rolling it in, or who's taking the a big dose of the vaccine, then you drop it?
Oh, it's almost like when somebody has a heart transplant, right? And they drop the heart, and you're
Yeah,
like,
you.
"Oh man,
I see
you
you
don't
two
want
have
that."
seen. I see you two have watched that scene from One Tree Hill. Everyone loved that, went viral a couple years ago.
Is that where it's from? I thought it was from another. Where was that?
Uh, yeah. So the show is just absurd. I grew up watching
Mhm.
it, so I'm actually. Oh, I actually kind of stopped now because I'm to the seasons where it's actually like unwatchable. But I grew up watching it, so every couple of years I'll rewatch it. And there's a scene where the dad gets a heart transplant, and he's been on the list for months. He finally gets his heart, and a guy shows up with his dog who's high. Apparently, he takes his dog that's high to the hospital, and the dad's just sitting there waiting for his transplant. And it gets there, and the doctor who's carrying the heart trips on the dog's leash, drops the heart, and the dog eats the dog that's high as a kite eats the heart. And it's around that point where the show just
Oh my god!
does not recover from its just head assness.
No, I saw no. The scene that I have in my head is not that one. There was no dogs involved. I forgot where it was something I watched recently. So I just have to trace my steps because I've been watching so much stuff that I'll remember what it is. But yeah, it's not that one. Because
Okay.
if I saw that one, I would remember a high dog eating a heart
It
that
was a
somebody
whole
was
thing.
waiting for. It's so
I think
stupid.
I think Shea Serrano wrote a story about that one scene in The Ringer.
Oh my gosh.
When that clip went viral again, maybe a year and a half ago.
Probably. Oh, that's so
Someone
stupid.
I know for sure someone in The Ringer wrote a breakdown of that scene. I'm guessing it's Shea, just knowing the type of guy who Shea is.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Shea Serrano special.
That's awesome. Everyone, thank you for listening. Let's start this bad boy up. AlamoRemedy.com. Promo code unicorn. Unicorn. What's your unicorn? Do your unicorn?
Unicorn.
AlamoRemedy.com. 10% off. By the way, their holiday bundle. This is their biggest bundle that you can buy. It's all of the products, okay? Every product that they have. The lotion, capsules, tinctures, and gummies. Those four main products, not including the hemp flower. They're not doing it for this one. But those four main products in a holiday bundle, you can get it for somebody. You can get it for yourself. $59.99. Okay, that's all their products. You're saving a ton of money already. It's 250 milligrams of CBD per product. You're not going to get a better deal than this. Plus, they are going to let you use the code UNICORN for 10% off. So you will save even more money. I can't do the math, but trust me, you will not find a better deal than this. Go to AlamoRemedy.com. They are all about us, the community, Texas. They are all about it. They were just sponsoring a hemp cup. So there was a first ever Taste of Texas hemp cup where they brought together some of the best hemp companies and CBD companies to figure out who has the best products. So they were part of that. They are for Texas. We look, for Texans by Texans. That's it. And they will ship to other states as well. Check them out. They support the show. Let's support them this holiday season. AlamoRemedy.com. Use promo code
Unicorn.
10% off plus free shipping over $49 on your order. Get that done. And they're not an official sponsor, but again, I want to thank the Y Factor. Go to mancenters.com. They just sponsored Barry and Jerry Bo's Streamathon that raised $6,000 to help out this organization out in the Bay Area, which is just, Webster around there, Clear Lake. And it is awesome. They did in that 2.5 hours stream, they raised $6,000. The Y Factor donated some items. My brother donated a free checkup, cleaning, and x-rays at htowndental.com, which, by the way, they still have their braces special, $500 off of braces. And then my dad threw in some colognes and perfumes from Perfume Time in Houston. So shout out to them. Big love to Barry and Jerry. They did some awesome stuff. I was on their show. They were roasting me for my shootout that I still hit over 40%, but I just didn't hit the over 11 and a half total threes made. So much love to them, and that was really cool. How was your week, buddy?
Can't complain, man. Good week. Another week closer to Christmas and another week closer to the end of the friggin' year. This year of hell is finally starting to wrap up.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to get off to a good start, right? The vaccine is here, and it'll slowly get to everybody. What was the Dr. Fauci said by the end of March, April is what we're looking at?
April to early May, he expects that all young, healthy people, i.e. me, not so much yourself, should have the vaccine by then, which would mean everyone before should already have it, which would mean hopefully we're done with most of the vaccination through the early summer.
Yeah. So hopefully we're on the right track here, and things are looking up. So it's good. Do you have any concept of days right now? Like, do you know the date off the top of your head?
Hell no. And it's kind of sad because I think it's the 12th.
Nope. I'm with you. I think after
it's the 14th.
It's the 14th. But about like a week before Thanksgiving, my concept of time disappears. And this year more than ever, right? Because for me, it's literally almost every single day is the same. I wake up, online school, I'm doing some work stuff, I'm doing some projects. I go shoot my stuff at NTV. I come back, I work out, I hang out in the at the front with the kids, and then I eat dinner, and then I'm, either Monday nights I'm doing the podcast or I'm watching something the other nights, right? So it just becomes the same thing over and over again. Man, I had no idea what the date was this morning. I woke up and I knew it was Monday because yesterday was Sunday, and that's about all I knew.
That unemployed life must be nice.
Yeah, semi-unemployed. Shout out to NTV. I'm still getting something from them, which is good. And Sports Spotlight, by the way, check it out every Saturday, 5 p.m. It's also on their Facebook page. You can watch it. So yeah, it's now that point of the year where you're just like, what day? I don't even know what Christmas is. So, I asked my neighbor, and he's like, yeah, it's next week.
So what week is more, I shouldn't say the most, but more unproductive? The Thanksgiving week or the Christmas week?
Christmas week.
You think so?
Christmas week to me, because it starts. It used to be for the last 4 years for me was this is the final week of the year I work. Mm-hmm. And then we used to take off the week of Christmas and the following week usually. So that was the most unproductive 2 weeks. And I don't even remember, like that was just me catching up on shows and watching a bunch of TV, which I've been doing all year long anyway. So It's going to be different this year, but next week, is going to be so busy because baby Trickster is off of school. This is her last week of online school and she's done. So then she's going to be bored out of her mind. Like, hey, I don't have anything to do. So that's going to be a long few weeks.
Are you going to start a curriculum for her?
Yeah, we will still be doing some stuff. We have to. We got to keep her fresh. And then she's gonna start in-person school if the school opens up.
Yeah.
Because everything's been good for the most part at the elementary school. They haven't had any major scares. They had one scare for one of the classes, and everyone had to just stay home for 2 weeks, which is fine. We knew that was going to happen. But other than that, nobody's gotten it from there. No one, none of the teachers have gotten anything. So it's been really good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
See, I'm not a father, so I feel like I can't really comment on this. But I'd be really nervous about that.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm definitely.
Again, I'm not a father, so.
And that's why we didn't send her back initially when they opened up in-person schooling for the last 9 weeks. We said, you know what? Let's see what the data suggests. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it's a bleep show or not. And it wasn't. They've surprisingly been good. And I don't know how much information they're keeping away from us, right? Like who knows? But it's been pretty good compared to the other districts and other schools that we've heard about and seen in the news. That's why we wanted to take this final 9 weeks of like, hey, let's see what this is all about. Let's look at the data. Let's look at it and then process it and make a good decision here and hope for the best.
Are you gonna put her through a music theory course while she's on her break?
She's been doing that. We do that almost every day.
Damn, you don't
Yeah. Every
you don't
day
miss
we
at all, dog.
no. You know what we do every day? Well, I'll put on a new song. I'll put on a random song. And like she can recognize Queen, the Beatles,
That's cool.
Vampire Weekend. She got into Bon Iver now because the vinyls. And I'll put on songs that she hasn't heard, and then I'll be like, "Who do you think it is?" And she'll like process it. So we've been working on that. Songs that she doesn't recognize, but it does sound, like a Beatles song sounds like the Beatles, right?
Yeah,
There's certain songs you just go, "Oh, that's the Beatles." So I'll try to find
sure.
something similar but new.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we, and then yeah, that's what we do. I mean, like she loves music. She
Have
absolutely loves music.
Have you put on Man on the Moon 3 for her yet?
Not yet. I did put it on. So I drove to San Marcos on Saturday. It took a little day trip. And on the way there, I listened to your album, The Avalanches.
My
And
album.
yeah, because that's the one you recommended. You're like, you got to check this out. I liked it. It was good. It set it up for people who don't know because we've talked about it before, but just a brief introduction.
So the Avalanches are an Australian group. I think now they're in their late 30s, early 40s, who in the year 2000 released an experimental album, their debut album that was just all samples. Like if you listen to Since I Left You, that's the name of their first album. It's all the vocals you hear, all the production stuff is all samples. Initially, it was rumored that there was almost 1,000 samples in that album, but it's
Dang.
more like around 400. And it's interesting because it came at a time where music piracy and just laws with music were drastically changing in the late 90s, early 2000s. And if you've watched Hip Hop Evolution, they talk about it a lot. Q-Tip talks about it a lot and how things change and how things were changing, and that was during that time period. So if that album came out like 2, 3, 4 years later, it might have been lost.
Wow.
And it's just there's old interviews where they talk about how they didn't really think about stuff like that then. They just made the music. Well, that was their first album. They didn't have another album till 2016, which was God, I can't remember the name of it right now, but that was their first album with actual original vocals. They had a lot of features. Well, this one is almost like it reminds me a lot of Daft Punk's last album, where it was a lot of feature. It was really feature heavy,
Mhm.
and it was a big separation from their original stuff or their older stuff. And that's kind of who they are. They're a group from Australia, as I mentioned. And I mean, this album's stacked. It has River Cuomo from Weezer. It has Denzel Curry. It's got MGMT.
Yep.
There's so many names on this album, and
It literally is.
it's
It's filled like every song. I was like, man, that sounds so familiar. And you go to it, and you're like, oh, that's who's on it.
Leon
By
Bridges
the
is
way,
on 2 songs.
the second album is Wildflower.
Wildflower. Danny Brown and
Wildflower.
MF Doom are on one song in that album.
Yeah, and then this one's called "We Will Always Love You," and it's as I told you, it for me it was kind of cool because it ranged from like a really folky album to like a New York gay bar disco from the 1980s vibe.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell? How did this one song go from this really cool folky, like, hey, we're driving on I-10 enjoying this, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, Lady Gaga's here? What just happened? So it's pretty wild how the sound
and
is all over.
and it's cohesive to where it doesn't feel like overbearing. It doesn't like
Yeah,
it just naturally, whether it's through a sample transition or an interlude, it just gets there. It's not like
yeah,
a bam, like here's this weird ass song. Like it all flows perfectly. And to Kid Cudi's credit, we're gonna talk about his album. I thought his was really cohesive as well. But
yep.
this one was just like I was just so happy with this album. The tracks blend perfectly. All the features are great. The messaging to me I think this was the perfect album for this year. It might not be the best album to come out this year. Obviously, I can't make that assessment when it came out less than a week ago. I don't think it'd be fair to have that recency bias. But it's an album about reassuring yourself about your feelings in a time where it's really hard to be in touch with your feelings
Yeah.
with everything that's going on. And I don't think that was intentional. And maybe that's just how I'm perceiving it. But it has great messages. It's great music, great features. Like it's a cool album. It's a good album to drive to.
and it's a long album. It's
It is.
25 tracks, so you get a lot for your buck there.
A lot of
If
it
you
is.
are,
It's like minute-long interludes, though, so don't be scared by the fact that it's 25 songs. It's not
so
that
again,
massive of a commitment.
the album is called The Avalanches, and it's called We Will Always Love You. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good album, great for driving. And then we will break down Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon 3 because I have some thoughts on that. And today I spent all my free time when I was listening to music to listen to Man on the Moon and then Man on the Moon 2 because you hated Man on the Moon 2 so much that I was like, man, wait, am I missing? Because I enjoyed that album. I thought it was a good album. And I go back and listen to some songs from time to time, not like I do with Man on the Moon because that's one of my top 5 albums.
Love
like
that album.
it's one of the best albums. But we will break that down. We have a different thing on the podcast today. So it's usually us two, right? But one of our longtime listeners and a friend of ours, Hunter, reached out. He's like, "Hey, I'm starting this new company, a new coffee company called TopTube," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm interested." Because we're in a pandemic and there's, one of the hardest things to find is coffee in the world because it's impossible. You just can't find it. So another coffee company would be interesting. And he's like, yeah, we're doing this. So I was like, well, you got to come on the show when, the website is up and things are going great. So Hunter is joining us. Hunter, how are you, man? How you been? Oh, no, we can't hear. Hunter, unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. I think your mic is mute there. Now try.
Sorry, I'm quartered up like
there you go.
2005 or something over here. But doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, is Luke still going to join us?
He's not going to make it tonight.
Okay, hold on. I got to edit your hold on. I got to edit this 1 second. Boom, boom, boom. And watch this little thing I'm going to put on here, the screen for you, because that's how we do it. And there he is, Hunter from TopTube Coffee, toptubecoffee.com. Man, first of all, dude, that is awesome. Congratulations on starting the company up. It's something you've been working on for a long time, and it's different, right? Like, obviously, I was joking, like coffee, you can buy it anywhere, right? There's a million bags of coffee, but there's a reason you started this up because it blended 2 different things that you love.
Yeah, we kind of went after 2 major aspects that we love. We're big cyclists. We're kind of in the endurance field. We kind of met during doing Ironmans and that kind of thing. Of course, you need a lot of caffeine for that kind of activity. So, and then one thing we love to do is to sit around afterwards and, make fun of each other or, joke about the workouts or whatever it is over coffee. So we kind of decided, well, look, these are 2 things we love to do. Pretty low barrier to entry, and yeah, so we kind of just wanted to join the 2 and see kind of where we could go from there. And it's evolved a lot since we first started it. But yeah, we love where we're at right now. It's a good time to start something new during a pandemic. We kind of both decided, hey, you know what? Everyone's down in the dumps. People aren't doing anything. We were kind of both sitting at home, working out from inside, working from inside. We decided to do something positive. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah. First of all, thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for joining us. And I guess my first thought was how much did the pandemic push you guys towards actually getting here? Because as you mentioned, there's so many people who are just sitting at home and kind of just doing stuff, obviously working from home and being pushed to do stuff. Like I guess what I'm trying to say is, was this the nail in the coffin of finally doing this? How fleshed out was this idea prior to the pandemic?
I mean, we actually didn't have this totally built out before the pandemic. The pandemic pushed us 100% to start the business. And it's sort of a side hustle. We're 100% online. We do have some, retail outlets, and we kind of went about that in a different way. But what it kind of forced us to do is sit back and go, okay, what can we do different here without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's where businesses are failing, kind of the brick and mortar. So we try to go at a different route. And so far it's been relatively successful pretty quick. So the pandemic pushed us right into it, no doubt.
See, a lot of people don't understand this. And Hunter, I think you and I are about the same age, roughly, like right in that same category. Yeah. And it changes, man. When you start working out and you're doing different things, it goes from, when you're younger, you're like competing and stuff and you work out to compete. And then as you get a little bit older, you're like, okay, I'm still trying to like stay relevant and compete a little bit.
Right.
And then at some point it switches, right? And you go, I'm just working out to be able to eat a really big breakfast or just hang out and enjoy coffee with people afterwards. And that is one of the big things about TopTube Coffee, as you mentioned, is that ability of, okay, we got this great workout in. Now let's go get this badass latte, right? And get that going. How much has that culture defined y'all's company, and how much does it still define you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what our goal is to bring people together over coffee. And I know it's kind of weird because we're still sort of in a pandemic. You can't really hang out too much, but yeah, that's the whole idea, is to work out, get your workout in, drink coffee before, most likely, work out, and then hang out afterwards and drink coffee while you're doing it. And it's just sort of a community thing. We wanted to bring people together again after being, isolated and spread apart.
So what's that process like? Just finding that, I guess getting from the idea of a flavor of what you in your head, what you think it's going to taste like, what you want it to smell like. What's that process of having that idea and actually getting it bagged?
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Of course. So, I didn't enter this as an expert. I drink coffee a lot, but I didn't really know, sort of the pipeline and how it all works. I've learned a lot throughout this process, but basically the main thing you do is called cupping. And it's not the same thing that you do on your back in your store or, anything weird. So basically you do different smell tests. So you smell the coffee, you smell all the different varieties of coffee when they're dry. You grind them, smell them when they're ground. Then you pour water and you smell it wet. And then you actually, you break the crust of the coffee. It all kind of settles at the top. Similar to like when you pour a protein shake or something, how all of the stuff just kind of sits at the top if you don't shake it. So you let that crust settle, and then you kind of push a spoon across it to move it across, and you smell it then. And then of course you taste it. So it's a lot of trial and error. And we basically got a bunch of random people. Every single time we built a coffee, we got as many taste buds in there as we could, changed them out every time, just tried to get a collective taste and smell and all that good stuff. And so far, everyone likes the different blends we've come up with. And we just did a single origin recently that's been really popular too. So
that's really cool. And one of the cool ways that you guys are spreading the word, and I follow you guys on Instagram, and of course I'm friends with you on all the social media sites. So seeing it, it's like, hey, let's go do a ride, right? Like let's have a meetup. Let's go ride and let's sample the stuff, going to smaller local shops, not the big, big box stores. All right. And building that community with this brand new brand. How's that been going?
It's been really fun. That's honestly probably one of the funnest parts, is we kind of do pop-up shops. So we pair up with like a local coffee shop, somebody that kind of shares our vision and believes in what we're doing. And they'll actually use our coffee for the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They'll use our coffee for the day, and we essentially bring them customers. So we'll kind of, assemble a group of people to come exercise from that area, whether they're running, whether they're cycling. We try to kind of let that be our, what we bring to the table, is bringing them customers that they may have never had. We kind of do a pop-up shop. We let people try our coffee made by professional baristas, not me, and they try our coffee. They like it, and they're able to buy merch. They're able to buy our bags there, and then they're able to just meet us, and then, also enjoy other people.
What's that process like, approaching like all these coffee shops? Like, was that intimidating at all? Because I can imagine, like, at least in my head, like going, hey, I'm a guy, here's my coffee, here's why you should have it. I know you have your own, but mine's better, and here's why we should work together. Like, what's that process like? How is that? How do you approach people in that situation?
Well, of course, it doesn't always work. But I'm in sales as a profession.
Right.
And my coworker, he's a teacher, and he's a super outgoing guy. So we didn't have really any issues. We just, it's something a little different, and I think that makes it really fun. So we're able to just strike a conversation up when you have to just kind of shape the idea that, look, this may not be the same thing that you used to, but we're trying something different. We're going to try to bring you customers. So it's kind of cool because we're able to like make a little money ourselves, but we're also supporting local. And like,
Yeah.
our beans are local. They're a local business. During a pandemic, some of these places don't do great. And if we're able to bring 25, 30, 40 people, maybe more, that helps a lot. So it's pretty fun, and you just have to frame the idea of what you're trying to do. And it's not necessarily your traditional, like, hey, buy coffee, here's the price. It's more like, hey, here's this idea. We're going to have, like, I bring out a photographer to the little event, and we're going to do professional photos, and we're going to take care of the marketing. We kind of try to be the marketers of the situation and kind of take that over. And to me, that's fun. I mean, we're all on social media. We do it well. And that's kind of like what we bring to the table as far as the value proposition.
That's the least you could do with all the sweaty people that come in afterwards to the coffee shop. And like, man, it's so embarrassing after you go work out and you just want to get a cup of coffee, or you want to go and pick up something, and people see you with the leggings on. And me, I like usually wear my Crocs if I'm going home, and you can just smell somebody. You're like, damn, this dude just worked out, or he just played basketball. This is nasty. This is not a good smell. Man, it's really cool. What's been the hardest part for you guys?
Supply chain, really. I mean, getting stuff is really difficult. Surprisingly, coffee is not too hard to get. But bags was a really difficult thing for us. They were delayed like months and months. So we thought we were going to be able to launch sooner, but it took the custom bags took forever to make. We're having some difficulties with hats now. Some of the merch takes a little longer than we expected, but everything's on back order. I mean, even stuff at hospitals is on back order. So, man, the whole world's on back order.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What's been the most popular flavor for you guys?
Surprisingly, it's our dark roast. And I don't love a dark roast coffie. We kind of made it for the people that seem to stick to that. But I don't even. That's what they love people. The people that love dark roast, they don't want to switch. So that's been our most popular coffee. So
for everyone listening, can you talk about working with nonprofits like Catapult? I know you guys named your Christmas flavor, which the blend sounds freaking awesome. It sounds like it tastes great. Can you talk about why that's so important to you guys?
Yeah, no doubt. So one of the things we noticed in cycling in particular is that, let's just be honest, in America, it's not that big of a sport. Besides Lance's time, it doesn't get a lot of love, and we love racing, and there's not a lot of funds going back to that. And so we kind of decided, you know what, let's really not necessarily tug on people's heartstrings, but if people want to give back to cycling, let's create this vehicle to do that. So essentially we wanted to, maybe every quarter or every year, it's changing as we go, but we wanted to give back to the community that we love. So Catapult is our first collaboration bag, and they give back, or they essentially help athletes with disabilities. So they have blind athletes doing full Ironmans. Nice. They have people that don't have legs riding bikes. They have special hand bikes. They have some really, really amazing people at the organization, and they've always been around us. But we just decided, you know what, let's try to help them out. And obviously during a pandemic, people losing their jobs. Nonprofits aren't doing great, as you can imagine. So we actually paired up with them to do a virtual Tour de France. It was really cool. Really? We did. We kind of helped them with a couple of ideas, and we actually entered 2 teams into it. I think we helped them raise over $25,000 on a virtual event. Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the coffee sales. That was separate. So that was kind of cool. We helped them do that. We organized a couple of pro cyclists to come in and do it. And it was one of those things where every week you entered your totals in as a team, and as a collective, you kind of did every stage of the Tour de France. It was very difficult, but we did that first. And then our Christmas bag, we're going to give proceeds of every bag sold to back to them. So kind of helps. It's kind of cool. It's co-branding. I mean, it's easy. And that's just something that we wanted to kind of highlight and do as a company, is let's just do as many collaborations as we can. Let's not put all the pressure on us to make this thing grow. Let's team up with other cool brands and other cool organizations that we can either attach a cause to or just co-brand with. So that's helped us grow a lot too.
Man, are we going to do a Raheel and Jose blend? Is that what's coming? A medium roast? Because that's what it's got to be. It's got to be a medium roast, and it's got to be from Mexico because that's where Jose's from.
We can do
it. Hey, okay, what's your favorite way to drink your coffee? Because I used to just be like a Folgers guy, right? And then as you grow older, you try different ways. You're like, man, I want to, like now I'm very spoiled with this. So like I do cold brew on Monday through Thursday. It's cold brew. Then we just got a new espresso machine, so I do that on the weekends. I do my own, of course. Oh, it's the best, man. Like that's the best way to do it. What's your favorite way to take your coffee?
Every day I do like a pour over. So I just use like a V60, just that kind of like V cup, and you just do dry grounds and pour hot water over it. That's how I do it every day. Espresso machine is obviously the best. Yeah, espresso is all the way. Like if I could do an Americano every day, or like
how do you make an Americano? Go. Do you know?
Oh, it's just espresso. You do like 2 shots of espresso and you just do hot water.
That's it. Easy.
Yep.
Jose recently got into the cold brew game because I got him into it, and that is my favorite way to take coffee now. Espresso is good. It's like a treat, right? But cold brew, man, it's next level. To me, it's the best way. I don't know. Like
it's so versatile to me. That's what I love about it so much. And you could kind of just, you need that midday pick me up. Just drink a little bit of cold brew.
Well, and plus, it's pretty much hot 95 days, 95% of the year here in Houston. So cold brew is great. But yeah, I actually drink hot coffee more than I do cold. I'm one of those weirdos.
Cool, man. Okay, before we let you go, one last question.
Sure.
What's the most random thing you've learned during this experience and journey with TopTube Coffee?
The most random thing I've learned. I don't know. That's a good question.
Of course it is. That's why I asked it.
The master of question asking. The most random thing I've learned.
It can be a fact about coffee. It can be a business fact.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, go.
So coffee is actually, it's a fruit and it's a cherry. So it's actually a cherry, right? And the inside of it is the bean that you see. So there's a cherry on the outside of it. It's a fruit.
It's like a red fruit, right?
Yep. It's a red cherry, and the different processes to take that off is what gives the coffee different flavors. I had no clue. So it's like a plant. It's a crop. So that's actually an interesting thing about coffee is there's seasonality, and then where it's grown makes a huge difference in how it's tasting, how it's processed. I learned some interesting things about coffee, especially that. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Everybody go to toptubecoffee.com. It's also in the bio of this episode. If you're listening on the audio side, if you're watching right now, you see it on the URL. You see the URL, on the banner there. Hunter, man, that's awesome. Tell Luke we said what's up. Best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you out and about here pretty soon.
Right on. See you guys.
Yeah. All right, there he is. Hunter from TopTube Coffee. Wanted to bring him in. He's a longtime listener and just a cool dude. I told you, right? I was like, man, he's an awesome dude. So I wanted to chat with him and just get his companies a little bit more love because they are in that important stage of growing, and we want to support local businesses as much as we can. So I had to get him in. And
the silver lining of this just absolutely atrocity of a year is how creatives have found an outlet by rather like whether it's by sheer will or just like, you know what, let me get off my ass and finally do this thing that I just always wanted to do. It's time. So it's so important, man. So important that like these businesses that were started, look, again, as you mentioned, it's been a crappy year. It's hard to say like there's been good to come out of all of this, right? Because it's been so bad and people have lost their lives and are still losing their lives and going through struggles. And even if they didn't lose their lives, they went through a life-changing event. But it is good to see some cool stories from time to time. It's nice. It's good for the soul, man. So I appreciate him joining us. And
hopefully, if he does an event here in Sugarland or Richmond, Rosenberg, probably Richmond, because again, we are the Portland of Texas now. I'm telling you, man. We got I'm telling you, the Amazon joint. We've got the kombucha store. We've got great local coffee shops. We've got juiceries now. We've got like five pho places because that's all we eat over here, I guess. It's awesome. I love it. It's so great. Literally, there's 3 on my drive from my house to 99. That's how many pho places we have.
Sounds like my part of town. That's where I
Yeah.
want.
I'm telling you, man, Richmond it's gonna, as soon as this Amazon warehouse opens up, it's on. Like, its property values are going up. It's the new Portland. We're gonna have homeless camps. It's gonna be nice.
No.
Aren't they still a ton of homeless camps in Portland? I believe there are.
I'm not sure. I know they've been having protests since the summer, like every day.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's up with the homeless camps.
Because Lance, every time he went to Portland, he's like, dude, there's literally tents, like camps of just homeless people, because that is just how it is up there. And I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it, but just tell me, how do I get to the Nike factory? I just want to go there. I just want to go to the campus there.
The Adidas factory is a trip, man.
It's more.
He got me into that a couple years ago.
Man,
it's like in a warehouse that you'd have no idea that it's there. Like, our Uber guy, who was a Portland resident, had no idea where it was, and when we got there, it did not look like that's what it was, because it was like a brandless office building.
Wow. And that's just the factory or like the employee store, or that's their campus?
The employee, no, yeah, they moved. So they moved. I went in 18. I think it was in 17 that they moved the employee store from the campus to that office building.
Okay, gotcha. By the way, what did you think of the Air Jordan 11 Jubilees? Keith was asking about it. He wasn't fond of it. He said we need a review of the 25th anniversary of the Jordan. Well, I don't know if he was fond of it. I thought I misread that. He just said the anniversary review of the Air Jordan 11s. Did they live up to the hype?
We need to go get your pair, dog. You're the one that has a pair.
It's in my closet.
Shout out JB.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're really nice in person. I think any Air Jordan 11, because is it the most iconic sneaker silhouette?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for its time, I think it is. I want to say the Jordan 1, but the Jordan 1 looks like the Dunk, looks like the Air Force 1.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's iconic.
The timing of when it came out, I think so.
I think the other one that competes with it in terms of iconic, and here's what I mean by iconic. Like, when you see it, most people will know what that shoe is. Not just sneakerheads, not just people that love shoes, right? It's when you see it, you go, oh, that's that. I know what that is. That's a Jordan. I think the only other one, and I might be really off on this one and a little biased, but I would say the Questions, Allen Iverson's first shoe. It's a very iconic silhouette.
See, I thought you were gonna say the Converse All-Star.
No. You don't think the Question is an iconic silhouette, like up there, like top 3?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, why not?
I just don't think that many people outside of the world we exist in would know what they are.
Okay. Even though Allen Iverson was the most popular player for 4 or 5 years in the NBA.
Yeah, I just don't think the casual person would be able to recognize them.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
maybe I'm biased. Yeah.
I'm 100% with you on the 11 though.
Yeah, 11 I think would be the most iconic. Like, to me, that's like, it just, what I mean is, you just see it and you go, oh, that's a Jordan. It doesn't have to be, you don't even have to say the number. You just go, oh, that's a Jordan. The Nike Yeezys up there. I would say the Yeezys, the new silhouette, like, because so many people have them now.
Yeah.
Would that be iconic?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, it's definitely recognizable.
Right. Which ones are they? The which ones do we all the 350s, right? That would be the most iconic one.
Yeah,
because it's so common now.
Yeah, and I mean he kept his promise, right? Everyone who wants a pair will get a
Mhm.
pair.
Keith also said the Jordan 4.
The Jordan
think-
4 is certainly my favorite Jordan, but I don't know. I think the 11 by far is more recognizable.
Here's the easy answer. The most iconic shoe of all time is the JJ Watt 4, which I just got and Josh got for $40 because who found the link? Was it? It was Josh, right?
It was Josh, yeah.
From Soul Links, he found a link and we ordered them and you didn't because you don't like JJ Watt. You side with Trade the Truth.
I do. Wait, they're beefing? I didn't know they were beefing. I just
they've been beefing since
the Great Value Answers. I didn't know they were. Why are they beefing?
About the Hurricane Harvey funds.
Really? He's the one.
You didn't know
behind
that?
I didn't know behind those conspiracies.
Yeah. Trey threw a lot of beef at it and a lot of shade at him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and like he was saying, at least you know where our money's going and stuff, and that turned into like a meme, right? And then people started calling out JJ, and that's why I think till this day, the pinned tweet on his Twitter is where all the funds went.
Yeah. Oh, is it still to this day? I remember that being a pinned tweet for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was weird. While you pull it up, Josh says that it's because you're a Nike sheep, and so am I. I love my Nikes, especially for training. I don't wear anything but Nikes. I tried Adidas for a while and I didn't like it. It is weird wearing a Reebok to train in, but this is a good training shoe. I wore it today to work out and lift and do some like ladder work.
Yeah.
Man, it's a stiff shoe though. It takes a while to break in. Nikes, you're ready to go. This one is going to take a while to break in. Like the whole shoe is stiff.
To this day, his tweet from August 29th of last year about the 2-year update is still his pinned tweet.
No way. I told you that, and that started because of Trey. I'm like 99% sure Josh is better at the online beefs he's listening. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Trey started that like, hey, where's the money going stuff? And it took off. Like everyone just ran with it on social media and to the point where JJ is like, hey guys, here we are actually we are a legit nonprofit, so we have to publish this. We have to show you where the money goes. So you can't say like, hey, this is where the money's going or where it's not going.
Jeez. You want to talk about Man on the Moon 3?
Let's do it. Man on the Moon 3, the highly anticipated album from Kid Cudi. It's been a while since his last album. 2015 or 2016 was his last album that at least I listened to. I don't think he put out an album since, but
let's find out.
He did because what was that? That one song Adidas used on one of their campaigns was a Kid Cudi song from that album.
That song that they'll like to use, Waves?
Yeah. So that one was from that album, and that was, I believe, 2016. But Man on the Moon 3.
Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying was in 2016, and then, of course, Kid See Ghost was
Kid See Ghost.
2018.
And then this one was his first solo album since then, but it was Man on the Moon that came out, one of the greatest rap album, hip hop albums, right, ever, in my opinion. There's not a filler track on that album. I listened to it again today while I was working out, and I was just like, gosh, this album is so perfect. Man on the Moon 2.
I don't know. Higher might be a filler song. I'd never cared for that song.
Really?
Yeah. But I was never really a smoker, so.
That's why. Look, the whole thing, his whole thing is built on marijuana, right? Like it's all about that. So you got to have one song in there for the stoners.
Obligatory weed song. Here you go.
Yeah. Here, guys, have some fun. So Man on the Moon, then Man on the Moon 2, and then he did a few other albums, and then of course Man on the Moon 3. So initial thoughts, and here's a game I want to play on this album with you because I don't know the answer, and I think we should start doing this on albums that we both listen to. We try to guess each other's favorite song from the album.
Oh wow! Okay, so I admittedly haven't heard it. I've heard it. I heard it a lot over the weekend, but I haven't heard it since. Well, I heard it a lot Friday night, and so I've basically probably heard it like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't given it as much time as you. as much time as you've given it, and certainly not as much time as I've given the Avalanches album. But
I've only listened to it twice. I listened to it on
really?
Friday. Yeah, Friday, and then on my drive back from San Marcos.
Okay. So do
Yeah.
you want me to try to guess your favorite song?
Yeah, go for it. I've got yours already. I think yours is September 16th, which is
No.
track number 12.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Is yours The Void?
Let me listen to it real quick. Hold on. Hold on.
Do you need me to we're gonna lose our funding. YouTube's gonna take this down.
See, I don't even know which song is which yet.
Yeah, I'm at that point. I'm at that point as well, except for The Void, because that
I
one's
do
up
like
there.
The Void. I do like that song, but I don't know if it's my favorite yet.
The one about his dad passing away. I think it's named after his mom. Track 11. The song with Skepta and Pop Smoke is really good as well.
I didn't like that song at all. That was an instant fast forward to me. Does every Pop Smoke song sound like that?
I don't really know. I don't really listen to them. The kids love them though. R.I.P. Respected dead.
Number 11 is Elsie's Baby Boy. That's a really good song.
Yeah, the guitar on that song is really good. Or whatever. I would assume that's a sample. I don't know from where though.
So what was your overall first listen? You finished the album. What did you think?
I thought, I saw flashes of why I liked his music so much.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like instantly like, man, like I hate to keep comparing it to the Avalanches album, but they came out the same day. Like the first time I finished that Avalanches album front to back, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I was expecting them to make. Once I heard the first singles and I realized, okay, they're making music that's actually all vocals, not just samples. When I knew he was doing the Man on the Moon thing again, I was kind of not really excited because I didn't really like Man on the Moon 2, and I hold Man on the Moon 1 to as high of a regard as you do. So I was kind of like trying to temper my expectations. So essentially, anything he did with this, so long as it wasn't bad, I was going to be mildly pleased with. And I think that's what I am. I really enjoy it. I'm going to listen to it, but I don't think it's an album like a year from now that I still have in the rotation.
Yeah. It wasn't an instant classic, right?
No, I mean,
nowhere near.
Those are so hard to come by.
Yeah. To me, when I listened to it, I was like, man, like he's my age and he's still running with the same bit. He's going all in on this bit of like, yo, I'm a stoner. I do like some of the messaging in there, obviously. Like he's talking about his mental health. He's always been very, very on the forefront with that as somebody in the hip hop world. So I do appreciate that. You know, he's talking about some breakups and he's talking about love, which is great. But the overarching theme in this is I'm kind of high right now, guys. Kind of high right now. So let's listen. Let's write some music. But the production was really good. I think from the first like 5 tracks, you're like, okay, this is gonna be a nicely produced album. It's gonna be some really good beats in there. It's gonna be something good, but not game changing, right? Beautiful Trip is a nice way to start it. You hear that familiar theme, you're like, oh man, is that from Man on the Moon? And you're like, oh, maybe it is. Then Tequila Shots is pretty good. Another Day is good, and then She Knows This is awesome. I think that's a really good song. So that's like, I think that's the first title track that he put out, not the one with Eminem. That one's on there as well. That's a pretty good song.
That song's on there?
Yeah, it's on I think it's second to last.
Is it on the deluxe? I don't see it on the standard.
Yeah, I think it's on the deluxe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was, or did it just auto play into that next song? I thought it was on here. What's that song called? It's on my playlist, but I forgot what the name.
Adventures of the Moon Man and Slim Shady. Long ass name.
No, never mind. It's not on there because you know what it is? I know what happened because on YouTube Music, once your album ends, it just gives you related tracks. So it must have just been the next one that comes up. So that's why I was like, man, yeah, I know. I remember hearing it at the end of the album. So never mind. But yeah, I really like that. She Knows This. That song is really good. I enjoyed it. Sad People was okay. I'm just looking at it. Loving Me with Phoebe Bridgers was pretty good. I like that one. That was a really good song. But overall, it's like it's good, but it didn't pop for me.
I think it had, like I said, it has those flashes of like, this is why I loved his music so much, and this is why his music meant so much when I was 15 years old. But it did kind of just feel like, okay, I mean, it's cool. It's not going to. I thought it was really, and Josh was talking about. I was talking about this with Josh on Saturday. It was really weird how like literally every like music publication was pushing it so hard, and it came out of nowhere. I thought that was really interesting because they, and granted, Taylor Swift's album was a surprise. She announced it the morning of Thursday that she was doing a follow up to whatever her quarantine album that everyone really likes. That's supposedly really good, and I don't want to discredit it because I haven't heard it all the way through. But everyone was just like falling head over heels for this album, so I was kind of like, oh, like,
you know why, right? I have a theory because I saw you guys talking about that, and I was thinking about that, like why was every single website memeing the album already at literally at 11 p.m. at night, right? On Thursday night when the album dropped until the next day, until Saturday. Everybody was like Complex Music. Everybody was tweeting about it and sharing memes and having fun with it. And I think it's because Cudi is so accessible on social media. Like he's willing to engage, he's willing to retweet. So it just builds up this buzz, right? And he starts retweeting. Literally, at one point, I was like, I'm going to have to unfollow you, unfortunately, because my whole timeline is you retweeting everybody except for me because I was trying to get some of that love too.
You were looking.
I was looking for that. I was simping. I wanted to get a retweet from Kid Cudi. I think that's kind of cool. So I think that's wise because when publications, especially the social media managers, like again, I'm getting technical with this, when you can get any kind of publicity and you go, hey, look, an account with 50 million followers retweeted us, that looks great. So everybody was trying to get that retweet. Everybody was trying to get some love. And a lot of those websites, like to me, the way I found it was because Cudi was retweeting literally everything, the big sites, fans all over. And I think that's why it became such a big thing on Friday and Saturday.
See, that makes more sense than my cynical ass thinking this was the labels through those publications like Double XL and Complex getting essentially a handshake agreement like, hey, you're just gonna push these for us, right? And just getting those agreements because stuff like that happens.
Yeah, of course.
Yours makes more sense when he was retweeting everything.
Dude, everything. Like literally every 5 seconds he retweeted everybody except for me. But you were tagged in it, so that's why. He's like, oh man, that's the hater who was hating on Man on the Moon too. So why would I retweet this?
Like Man on the Moon too, right?
Yeah, it's because of that. So yeah, check out the album. I'm gonna listen to it a few more times before I make my final judgment on it and like give a, you know, like, is it gonna crack the rotation? Some of the songs will crack the rotation once I get familiar with them. But overall, nothing initially cracked my rotation.
You weren't ready to give a one-day review like Juggalo Trey was?
No, I was not. But like, for example,
calling it the album of the year on Saturday morning, I think.
Juggalo Trey is a trip. That's why. But I mean, the Eminem and Cudi song, that one cracked my rotation right away. And my rotation is my workout list. That's my rotation. If you can crack that, you're like, I like their song a lot, right? So it cracked my rotation immediately. Nothing from this album made me go, you know, put it onto the playlist. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you about in the final few minutes of this, have you started watching How To with John Wilson?
No. So I finally got, remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about how HBO Now wasn't on the Fire Stick? That was actually like the first week of it being on there. And I didn't realize that until this weekend. So I'm on the HBO Max now. I'm going to watch it. For those of you who don't know, that show's produced by our beloved Nathan Fielder. So I'm really looking forward to it. Tell me about that show, man.
If you like Nathan For You, and you're like, man, I want something even more awkward and meaningful and thoughtful, this show is for you. So within the first 3 minutes, I had to laugh out loud. Like I was just dying. It was actually right at the 3-minute mark because the first 3 minutes, you're like, okay, you're kind of figuring this out. Like, is this how this show is going to be the whole time? what's happening like, is this guy for real? Is this, and you never see him, by the way. It's a voiceover track. So there's a few shots where you see who John Wilson is, but for the most part, it's him telling a story through all of this footage that he's captured around the city of New York. Okay. And he's just, and there's an overarching theme, but then that theme merges into something else. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, because it is one of the best. It's one of the best shows I've seen that visually complements the script and the voiceover unlike anything. It's so damn good. Like, literally, and that I want to interview him and ask him, did you write the show first, or did you have all this footage and then did you write to the footage? Because there's two ways to do it. Like, in journalism, you're always taught to write to the footage, right? So you go out, shoot a story, and then, for example, you'll see a lot of sports people do this. They'll say, and James Harden with the dunk with his left hand, right? Like, they'll write it exactly. Or, it's tough. I did this with my Robert Covington story. It's tough balancing your life while you're in a pandemic and getting ready for an NBA bubble. And it's Robert Covington doing a single leg deadlift. So, like, he's balancing, right? So you write to the footage. So I want to know, did he write to the footage, or did he just go around and caught like really funny things? And then he's like, oh yeah, I have this shot. And then if so, that's even crazier, because how do you remember all of this footage? And he barely reuses footage. I think there's a couple of shots he reuses across the 6 episodes. They're 30 minutes each. But man, every single shot is a new shot. It is I think episode 6 is one of the best episodes of TV that I've watched. Like, it's up there with Nathan's season finale or series finale. The Bill Gates lookalike story. It's that good, man. And then you go in and you read the title, right? Like, one of the episodes is called How to Build Scaffolding. Okay. Like, it's so, you're like, how is he going to do 30 minutes on building scaffolding?
Yeah.
And then he just takes you on this journey that is so reflective. And you're like, damn, this is really, really good. Like, this guy is awesome. And it's funny. It's creative. It's totally different than anything that you've ever watched. So you got to stick with it. Okay. I know, like, some people are going to want to eject after the first episode, but I'm telling you, man, and then episode 4, Jose, it was one of the wildest moments of TV that I've watched, and my wife was watching with me, and I felt uncomfortable. I was like, I don't want to laugh because I don't want her to leave me, but I also really want to laugh right now because this is so freaking funny.
So what did she say anything to you as you guys were watching it?
She just rolled her eyes and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And that's when I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back." It's some of the most uncomfortable footage I've ever seen. Episode 4.
Oh man, and it's already been renewed for a second season.
I'm so happy it's renewed. And I'm sorry, like, episode 6 is one of the best episodes I've seen in terms of just overall quality of work, just reflecting. Episode 4 is one of the wildest moments of TV. Like, remember on Borat 2, the Harvest Moon dance?
Yeah.
It's more uncomfortable than that.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And you don't even see it coming. Like, all of a sudden you're just like, oh, what the hell is happening here? It's 6 episodes, Josh, 30 minutes each. I finished the whole season in 2 days. It was easy. Like, it's an easy watch.
Josh is going to finish that in a sitting.
Tell me when you start it, okay, because I'll rewatch it with you because I loved it so much, man. It's masterful in my opinion.
I'm probably going to start it tonight after the podcast.
Okay, I'll probably put it on again. It's so freaking good, man. I just, like, I can't believe they did a show like that and the HBO allowed it, because a lot of networks are ejected. They're like, this is dumb. But when you start, again, get through the first episode, and I'm telling you, as he finds his groove and his writing, you're going to be blown away by episode 6. So that's my review. Like, as you can tell, I'm really giddy about it.
Yeah, you definitely are. Wow.
It's awesome, man. It's so freaking good.
So far, Nathan Fielder's delivered on his the first half of his post Nathan For You career.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Showtime sitcom he's going to actually star. I think that comes out next year.
Man, whatever. whatever advice he gave to John Wilson, he did a great job with it. I mean, he's just a producer on it, right? So
I think
isn't he EP on it? He's not directing it.
no, I don't
No,
know his exact role.
Yeah, I think he's just an EP on it, or EP, or just a producer, one of those. Yeah, it's produced by Nathan Fielder, but it's a great show. It's on HBO Max. Again, it's called How To with John Wilson. So every episode he explains how to do something, right? How to cook a risotto or how to build scaffolding, right? And again, you're gonna read the episode and you go, okay, and it has nothing to do with it. Just follow the journey, man. It's so cool. It's such a great show. So there's my review. And then I watched Birds of Prey yesterday.
Oh,
It was
how is that?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Everyone was killing that movie.
Better than Suicide Squad?
Yes, way better. I would without hesitation, way better.
Well,
Suicide Squad was a mess, man. That was a bad movie. I didn't think it was good at all. I'll go back and rewatch it because I believe it's on HBO Max. I just remember that movie being a total mess. The CGI didn't look good, and it just continued like that whole DC was in like they have no idea what's going on. But this one was good because you immediately like, okay, this is all the Harley Quinn, right? So the movie's tone and theme go along with that. They're not trying to blend 7 different personalities, 7 different themes. It's all about Harley Quinn, and the whole thing is good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. So there you go. Those are my two.
Never-ending rotation or list.
Yep. Those are my two things for you. Anything else for you before we go? I know we're over here, but I just want to get those 2 reviews in.
No, man. I think we hit on everything. The thing I was geeking out the most was that Avalanches album. I think we're good.
All right, perfect. So we are out of time. Make sure you follow us on social media at ParJ94 on Twitter, at @_Raheel. Join the conversation. Again, thank you everyone that tweets us after the episode's post or even during. We appreciate you guys interacting with us, listening, and spreading the show. Please send this to 5 people, right? If you're listening, just let 5 people know. I think you'll like this show. And let's grow the show even more as we get into 2021. We are out of time. AlamoRemedy.com, their holiday bundle is up $59.99, but you will save 10% off with promo code
Unicorn.
10% off. Promo code Unicorn. Do it. Support the show. We get a proceeds of the sale, so it helps us as well. AlamoRemedy.com. Jose, I will talk to you next Monday night.